In just the last hour or so, we've learned a Columbia student is out of ICE detention. I want to show you her here. I think you can see her under the sweatshirt being escorted out. Some of the statement by the student posted to her Instagram story says she's safe, she's okay, she's in complete shock. She's going to need a little time to process everything. That's after her arrest, which led to massive protests at Columbia University today. Look at that. You see all those people in the streets there. The school says it is relieved and thrilled after the school's president accused the feds of misrepresenting themselves to enter the building. Apparently, they said they were looking for a missing person. Her release apparently helped, aided by the mayor, Zohran Mamdani, who called President Trump after an unexpected meeting at the White House that wasn't on either of the public schedules. Monica Alba joins us now. There's a lot on this one, right? So let's start to pull on some of these threads. As we just heard, the student is no longer detained, but we heard from DHS about all this too, right? What are they saying?
Exactly, Hallie, and it is notable because it was, according to Mayor Mamdani's office, his request that she be freed that resulted in that action. And then, again, according to his office, there were additional students that Mayor Mamdani raised with President Trump to see if it's possible that they could be released in the future as well. According to DHS, they did put out a statement on this, talking about this student specifically from Azerbaijan, saying that she was arrested because her student visa had been terminated in 2016. They say under the Obama administration for failing to attend classes. They say that the building manager and her roommate let officers into the apartment and that she has no pending appeals or applications with DHS. Again, it was Mayor Mamdani, Hallie, who asked the president to basically make a phone call to see that she be released. And we understand that that is exactly what happened after their meeting. And what's notable is that, yeah, this meeting wasn't on the schedule for either the president or for the mayor. The mayor put out a photo of their meeting, and then after he did that, he updated that and said, after our meeting, we actually got on the phone to talk about this Columbia student specifically. And so this was a kind of back-to-back update from the mayor's Twitter account, X account, in which he provided all of that information that was not shared before cameras, which is different than the visit last year where we did see reporters come in and both men took a bunch of different questions. Hallie.
I mean, let's say more about this, because this dynamic between the president of the United States and the mayor of New York City, right? Republican, Democrat, like, it's fascinating because the president legit seems to very much like Mamdani, who at one point, you know, there was discussion of whether he was going to become like the big boogeyman of the Republican Party, basically.
Yeah, an unlikely pairing, but one that seems to keep coming back together. It was interesting, according to Mamdani's office, he requested this meeting with the president before the State of the Union. They set it up for today. And during the State of the Union, you actually had President Trump talking about Mamdani briefly, saying, nice guy, I don't really like all of his policies, but he got a little bit of a shout out there. Today, their meeting focused on housing, and that's why in that original photo that we put up there, you saw those front pages. According to a spokesperson for Mayor Mamdani, it was their office that mocked those up, and that the president was, quote, very enthusiastic about an idea for a new housing project in New York City that would contain about 12,000 units, we understand. They said that essentially this is something that they're going to continue talking about, that when they met back at the end of November last year, the president said, hey, why don't you come up with some big swing ideas for New York City, for, of course, the president's original hometown, and then come back and brief me on that. And it seems like that's what this meeting today was about. Hallie.
We thank you for watching. And remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube channel.